Just days after a gunman opened fire at the White House Correspondents Dinner, late-night host Jimmy Kimmel is now pushing back hard against claims his comedy crossed a dangerous line. On his show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, the comedian addressed the chaos that unfolded when alleged shooter Cole Allen stormed the event, offering sympathy but drawing a firm line. "I'm sorry that you, the president, and everyone in that room went through that on Saturday," Kimmel said, acknowledging the trauma inside Washington's most high-profile media gathering. But then came the pivot. Kimmel rejected outright the idea that his joke, calling Melania Trump an expectant widow, had anything to do with the violence that followed. Kimmel quipped, "If you want us to believe that a joke I made 3 days before this dinner had any effect on anything, then maybe someone should look into this psychic lady too." A direct shot, not just at critics, but at the narrative forming around him, after White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt slammed him for what she called promoting rhetoric that fuels a cult of hatred against Trump. The controversy traces back to a monologue delivered by Jimmy Kimmel on his show, where he joked about U.S. First Lady Melania Trump during a staged White House Correspondents Dinner segment. Kimmel said on air, "Our First Lady, Melania, is here. Look at Melania. So beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow." The remark, delivered shortly before the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting incident, immediately triggered backlash across political circles and the Trump family. In the aftermath of the shooting, Melania Trump didn't stay silent either. She went public, demanding consequences, and called Kimmel's words hateful, corrosive, and accusing him of deepening what she described as America's political sickness. Her message was blunt: "It is time for ABC to take a stand." U.S. President Donald Trump escalated the attack on Kimmel and joined Melania in publicly calling for ABC and Disney to fire the late-night host over remarks made about the U.S. First Lady. But Kimmel wasn't backing down. Instead, he turned the argument back toward the White House, suggesting that if the conversation is about violent rhetoric, it should start much closer to home, a not-so-subtle jab at Donald Trump himself. And then came a twist that's fueling even more speculation. Kimmel aired a pre-shooting clip of White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt joking on the red carpet that there would be some shots fired tonight in the room. The comment came minutes before the real gunfire began. Now, online, that clip is being dissected, replayed, and dragged into conspiracy-fueled debates. The White House Correspondents' Dinner, meant to celebrate journalism, has now spiraled into something else entirely, a flashpoint of politics, media, and blame, with Kimmel at the center of it. And as accusations fly, one question is now driving the narrative. Was this just a joke taken too far, or is the fallout being weaponized in the chaos after the shots were fired?
Just on the rhetoric, you mentioned the First Lady and Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's comments were, "Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow." And he said this days before the shooting, but there does seem to be a normalization of rhetoric about assassinating this particular president. How can this administration try to put an end to this?
Well, I think you heard it directly from the president on Saturday night, Aisha, that in his words, we need to recommit ourselves as a country to toning down the rhetoric and to unifying around what makes our country great. That's true of everyone who works in this White House, but as I said, it's also true of everyone who has a voice and a platform across this country, whether you're on television, a podcast host, people listen, and when you have mentally disturbed individuals across the country who are listening to this crazed rhetoric about the president day after day after day, it inspires them to do crazy things. And unfortunately, it's not just the media, it is the entire Democrat Party has made their pitch to voters across the country that Donald Trump poses an existential threat to democracy, that he is a fascist, and that they compare him to Hitler. I mean, these are despicable statements that the American people have been consuming for years. And so many mentally perturbed individuals are led to believe these words are truth and then are inspired to act on it. These are Democrat elected officials calling for war against the President of the United States and his supporters. I could go on and on, but again, when you have people in positions of power that are saying things like this every single day for years, you are inspiring violence by people who are already mentally ill. And that's what we've seen against this president for far too long.